Welcome so much to my presentation about breaking down Mount Silver Red. We're going to be talking about Unova Red. But first, we need to talk about the Red fight ground rules. So as you know, Mount Silver Red is one of the endgame boss fights that you get once you complete the national dex. So the main features of this fight are the following. Red's Pokémon will always be level 100. No level scaling, no holding back. Red's Pokémon get an enter of battle free move whenever they enter the battle as an action that takes as an ability of an extra turn. And precisely, one important thing is that if you are doing it like cheesy way, like you're trying to fight it normally, they don't activate if the Pokemon's faint to entry hazards. So for example, in the Kanto variation, if the Charizard is below half HP and you have Stealth Rocks up, its preferred move of enter a battle move, Sunny Day, will not activate. Red Prime, or Kanto Red, and Unova Red can lead with any Pokemon at any time from their parties, while Johto, Hoenn, and Sinnoh Red will always lead with the same Pokemon, Gliscor, Swampert, and Staraptor respectively. Red's Pikachu, as you may see now in the screen in the right, it's not the regular Pikachu, it's a partner Pikachu base stats, while also being as broken as it can be because it doesn't have the let's go mechanic restrictions that it cannot hold a held item. So yes, we have a partner Pikachu base stats, which is essentially the same speed as Alakazam, but also it gets a light ball, which is essentially just huge power for both physical attack and special attack. So essentially, it's the same strength or even stronger than some legendaries like Groudon and Kyogre, while also being as fast as the same speed as Doctrio and Alakazam. Yeah, very balanced. Items and species clause are applied. And this also applies for like even a species clause. This species clause is also a unique one. If you have, for example, a Vaporeon and a Jolteon on your team, you cannot use them together because they evolve from the same Pokemon. So this will also apply for Gardevoir and Gallade, the Wormadam forms with Mothim. This will also apply with Dustox and Beautifly. Not saying you will use them, but if you were trying to use them together, you can't because this is a unique type of species clause. And item clause is obvious, like you cannot have 3 choice cards, for example. Pokemon that are level 50 or lower will not obey you at all. So if you want to use like a low level cheese strategy, the Pokemon has to at least be level 51 if you want to actually use the moveset it has. And most importantly of this fight, you cannot use bag items during the fight. So there's no way of trying to cheese with a choice lock and then using X items to use boost yourself, your speed, and then sweep. Now onto the team composition of Unova Red. We have some of the scariest rosters of all time. Like the first 3 Pokemon already show you fear in your guts. We have Sunrush Excadrill, which sets its own Sandstorm upon entering the field. Dragon Gem Draco Meteor Hydreigon in a generation where gems are 50%. Draco Hydreigon is the strongest Draco Meteor in all of Pokémon. While also it uses defog, so it cannot miss said Draco Meteor. Serperior Contrary, one of the most scariest Pokemon of all time, especially because we're in a Gen 5 format. And Label Pikachu with the Let's Go partner stats, and also gets nasty plot, so its special attack goes to 996. The quick summary here is that Hydreigon has defog to lower your evasion and quote-unquote guarantee that his moves hits, including Draco Gem Draco Meteor. Being Focus Blast after the -1 evasion drop from defog, it's only 93.3% accurate, which is it's a 28 in 30 chance. Essentially the accuracy check of Focus Blast after -1 evasion. Excadrill, it's a self-sufficient insane stance sweeper because it has 4 attacks, Life Form, Sunrush, it has Sandstorm to boost its speed to outspeed Scarf, Yoli, Garchomp. The de facto answer that most people, when trying to use a 6v6 fight against Red at all, that's what they use to revenge kill Pikachu. Or to kill Pikachu at all. Then we have Serperior, one of the most broken Pokemon of all time, with Contrary Serperior in Generation 5 format, with a substitute for Enter of Battle move, so it can block one attack and Leech Seed to be able to pretty much just heal off any damage you try to do offensively. Then obviously we have the broken Let's Go Pikachu partner. It has Light Bulb, it has Nasty Plot, it has perfect coverage of Bolt Beam because it has Thunderbolt. Instead of Gen 1 being Thunder, the electric stab, it also has Volt Switch, but it only clicks it if it sees a kill and then switch out. But for the most part, it has Thunderbolt, which is arguably better because it don't have to rely on Blast with Rain. It has Hidden Power Ice, and then it has Grass Knot for if you wanted to be an asshole using Swampert, Quagsire, Gastron, or any water ground type you think of. Then we have Ember, which is not talked about a lot because its stats are like mediocre at best. Like it has 65 base speed and the attack stat is like fine. But it has Disruption with Roar. So if you want to sweep it, you either have to do it's a disruption very annoying because if you have any other Pokemon alive other than the Pokemon on the field, it's gonna send you back and all of your progress setting up is wasted. Also, Reckless boosted Fire Gem Flare Blitz is essentially like a nuke because Reckless is a 20% damage increase and Fire Gem, again, we have another gem in this repertoire, is 50%. So that's essentially an 80% damage boost to Flare Blitz, which is pretty concerning to say the least. And finally, the least important of them all is like Samurott. It has block, which essentially means if your game plan doesn't play around Samurott trapping you, you're bad. Because now if Samurott can revenge kill you, it will revenge kill you. So that's pretty much the team composition here, like the breakdown. How do we approach this fight? Well, pretty much simple. With a setup, of course. Like even if you want to do like a 6v6 proper fight, Unova Red is by and large the hardest variation of Red because it has 4 of the most broken Pokemon ever conceived in Pokemon history and even in Gen 5 history. Like you have, for context, in the doubles format of BGC during the first year of Black and White lifespan, Dragon Gem, Draco Meteor Hydreigon was the strongest special attack ever. So to have to face that here is annoying. Also, the fact that it cannot mix with Draco Meteor because of defog lowering your evasion. It has Superior Contrary in a Generation 5 format where we don't even have legendaries to check it. We don't have Hitran, we don't have like Jirachi, we don't have the Lati twins. Like we don't have anything to like check it properly defensively. Anyway. There's also the fact that we have rule breaking let's go Pikachu partner Pikachu with Libo and Nasty Plot, and we have Sam Francesca being one of the most scariest sweepers in Generation 5 singles, which is concerning. And also the fact that the fight can be scuffed because of Error, Ember, and block Samurott is like annoying to say the least. But what if it didn't matter, all of that? What if we could just sweep through it? Now, as many of you may know, if you're watching this video from the Patrosky Discord, or if you have seen like Cav's video talking about Gen 5, or if you have seen another guy talking about how to beat Gen 5 at all, you may recognize this team composition. It's one of, if not the most popular one, for sure, because I mean the requirements are pretty straightforward. You just need a 2x31 Flygon with pretty good HP and special defense to be able to tank Dragon Pulse from Superior. You need a Jellicent that has enough speed to outspeed after the Scarf Jolly Ember with some also defense and HP enough to be able to not die to crit the Wild Charge, but also be able to get 2-hit KO'd. And also Blissey, which normally is a requirement already for the E4 reruns, that require you to have the Blissey that has tricks, Stealth, Protect, and Softwell. You only need it for trick in this scenario because what you mainly want about Blissey and Jellicent anyway is the stat profile, which is Blissey is just the most insane special defensive wall of all time, and Jellicent is just the It's one of the most broken Pokemon in Gen 5 history. Being non-legendary that can compete with pretty much everything, like it's insane. And the fact that it has a use here is also good. But one thing that we can just talk about this team is that it has one big flaw, and that is that most people don't really talk about this because it's not they don't want to talk about the negatives or like the win percent chance of the strategy. But in more recent development, the AI has developed the fact that it can play around the movesets of this. So against Blissey, it doesn't because it just has such an insane special defense that pretty much the AI will always switch out if it's a special attacker, except Pikachu. If it's Pikachu, it's gonna stay in because it gets the nasty plot and libel, so it's just it's the 2-hit KO anyway. But for the most part, yeah, if it's Superior, Samurott, or Hydreigon, it's gonna switch out. If it's Excalibur, it's gonna stay in and just spam Earthquake. And if it's Ember, you get roared out. You have to switch back into Blissey, let it die, and then click try and click Trick with Jellicent, which is annoying. Like Emberly, for what I remember, Emberly is the most annoying for this team, and also even if you do the sequencing right, technically the AI can cheat and just hard swap to Pikachu on the way that you're sending Jellicent in when you have Blissey dead, and then you cannot do anything really because if you go then Flygon, then you can hard swap again, which is annoying. So instead of trying to be annoyed by the AI cheating, I'm just aiming for much higher. I don't want to deal with any of that. I just want to do, and also I want to do a 2-mon line. I don't want to do a 3-mon because 3-mon takes some time. Some people don't want to have 3 near perfect Pokemon. I mean, like obviously Blissey is already a requirement for reruns, as I recall, but people don't want to breed an just to have an extra Jellicent that is just sitting there just to do this fight. Like you could use Jellicent for some other better use, like for PvP, more probably. Like it has some better application. And Flygon, like it's an underwhelming Pokemon. It's on the bug egg group, which is not the most expensive, but having some Pokemon that sit here, like some people don't like it. And also you need very good IVs in HP and special defense because of the new development of how Superior works. So yeah. I'm now presenting the plan. What is my plan? First and foremost, I want to present you the support member that is gonna help you with our Unova Heist duo queue, which is the idea of this. Like Snorlax here, as you now can see, is gonna be our support member that is gonna help our sweeper be able to sweep out the fight. Snorlax has an interesting IV spread. The requirements for IVs are very strict. Unfortunately, nature can vary a bit. You have 2 natures at work, sassy and careful. You don't want calm because you need your attack stat. You don't want the one that reduces your defense because you don't want to reduce your defense. And you need your special attack increased. So the only 2 natures at work are careful and sassy. The 4 IVs, you need all of them except speed and special attack. You don't need any of those 2. You need perfect HP, attack, defense, and special defense. Snorlax can be annoying to breed, but when you realize that you can just use Titos for the most part, and then pay like a sequence of 2 to 3 female genders, it's not really that expensive. And also you have to realize that if you roll nature on your way up, you are just saving so much more money. So like, and also at 4 times, if you get the nature on the 4x, you just save so much money. So like, it's not really a big issue. About the Snorlax itself, it has some EV spread that I'm gonna explain later, but TLDR, we are trying to tank every single move that we can on the exact ratios we want, while also being able to get out of bad situations and being able to set up the perfect outcome we want. That's pretty much it. So that's the first member of this heist. Now, who's the sweeper that Snorlax is gonna help out? Well, let's talk about what is Denzi's favorite Pokemon to joke name a lot when referring to PvE content. Breloom of Borlem. Oh my god, Borlem! Anyway, so here's Breloom. We have some. Again, this is gonna require you a perfect IV Pokemon. Like you're gonna need 31 in all of these stats except special attack. and the EV spread is min-max to the brim. Like you literally survive on 1 HP and a lot of things. You also get mileage out of like baiting certain moves and such. Like I'm gonna explain it later, but it's gonna make sense, okay? Pretty much the gist of it is that black belt boosted technician with the 236 attack EVs, adamant, and sword dance. After sword dance, it kills everything. That's the gist of it. And also, we're trying to abuse what I showed you before about the Snorlax moveset. If you saw that, I have John. So if you can see, the moveset on Snorlax is Double Edge, Anchor, Yawn, Endure. We need the Double Edge damage and the Double Edge recoil. It's important, both of them. Anchor helps us out a lot. John is our way of getting damage, and Endure is gonna be able to help us activating Custom Berry. So Breloom moveset. We have here Drain Punch, Mach Punch, Protect, and Sword Dance. Protect is in case we need to activate the John Sleep by waiting a turn. Sword Dance, well, as our form of boosting. Mach Punch is our priority move, and Drain Punch is our way of getting out of the situation of Serperior, which we're going to understand later. Now that you know the teammates, let's dive into the scenarios. Scenarios 1 and 2, the freebies. So these ones are pretty much the ones that even if the RNG doesn't go your way, if you get them in lead matchup, you have an almost or if not guaranteed 100% win rate. Now, technically, I should include Samurott here, but you will see that I didn't really plan ahead about this. The two Pokemon that are the freebies, at least initially, are Excadrill and Serperior. And now you're gonna be talking like, come on, Rainer. You taught me that Serperior and Sunrush Contrary Serperior and Sunrush Excadrill are two of the most broken Pokemon of all time, and you're gonna tell me these are the free leads? What happened? Like, okay, let me break it down. So first of all, Excadrill, as you may see some calcs here, it's a piece of shit. Excadrill, Life for boosted Adamant with the Earthquake, does a shit ton damage. It's a guaranteed 2-shot. So the gist of it is pretty much what you want to get with Excadrill is that you never die to crit, you always die to do Earthquakes, or 2 attacks at all, like Earthquake plus Iron Head, Earthquake plus X-Scissor, Earthquake plus Rock Slide, but the gist of it is that you want to die to 2 attacks, but never die to 1 crit. Unfortunately, because of the broken matchups that we have to face later on, we have to kind of compromise our defense. So we cannot have like impish nature in this case. We need the special defense. We need the attack EV investment to be able to make other matchups more consistent. So yeah, pretty much the TLDR about the Excadrill is that you never die to 1 hit, 1 crit. You always die to 2. So you get enough turns to get John Sleep going, and then you can SD Sword Dance and sweep with Breloom. And yeah, it's as you may also see here in Blackened, the line of play has over a 99.9% success rate. I calculated the chances for you to fail this fight, and it's a 1 in 8,192, which is the same as the original shiny chance in cartridge games from generations 1 to 2 and 3. So if you're a psychopath and want to shiny hunt this loot condition, go ahead. I dare you. I dare you do so. I dare you to try and get the shiny loot condition. I dare you. So the sequence of events of turns you have to do is with Snorlax. Also, something I didn't mention here at all is that you want to lead with Snorlax. You don't want to lead with Breloom. You always lead with Snorlax. Even if you get Ember lead, you're gonna see what we're gonna do for that. So yeah, pretty much. You lead with Snorlax. You yawn turn 1. You faint turn 2. You don't click Endure. Because you're wasting time. Then at that point, either X-Ray is asleep or he got the crit hyron and you die to Sandstorm. When X-Ray comes out, if it's not asleep, you protect. If it's asleep, you Sword Dance, and then you kill it with Mach Punch. Even if crit Earthquake is enough high roll, which is a 19% chance to do so, to die to Sandstorm afterwards, even if that happens, you use Protect, then Sword Dance. You Protect to activate the Sleep from John, you Sword Dance on the guaranteed turn of Sleep, and then you Mach Punch to kill it. After that, you can technically also look to a subsequent Chiron crit, but that's the fiction land. I mean, it's 1 in 8,192 chance, so If you want to fish, if you want to shiny hunt that, you can. I don't know why would you do that, but it's there. And also, before we continue, let me break down Aon CV spread in more detail. So, as you saw during the slide 8, which is the Bron explanation here, we have 32 HP, 236 attack, 20 special defense, and 220 speed. So why is that? Well, simply put, we're using those EV spread to bail out of Serperior and to manipulate the AI from Ember. Ember is pretty simple. You just need the HP to be able to always survive superpower, so it only goes for Flare Blitz. Because trying to be a role to bait flare superpower is not optimal, because then you add the chance to lose to crit superpower on the Snorlax switch. In the case of Serperior, though, it's more complicated. So I'm gonna give you a yapping lesson. Sandstorm does 1/16 of damage at the end of each turn, but damage in Pokemon always truncates to decimals for the end result. Unless the damage value is 0, in that case it becomes 1. Pokemon math for you, you're welcome. Pokemon math lesson. But Breloom's HP total after the EV spread is 269, which divided by 16, which is the Sandstorm damage, it gives us 16 dot something, 0.8125, which after truncating translates to 16 damage of Sandstorm per turn. When you're doing the sequence properly and you didn't get crit against Excadrill, your expected amount of Sandstorm chip is 2 rounds. And after that, Serperior comes out guaranteed and it clicks substitute. The max roll from Serperior HP Fire crit is 236. 236 plus 16 from the first Sandstorm plus 16 from the second Sandstorm is 268. That means Serperior lives on 1 HP, gets the Drain Punch against the substitute, healing out of Sandstorm range, and then killing the following turn with Mach Punch. Because Mach Punch does a minimum of 91%, which is well over 80, you know? So yeah. And as you may see here, Breloom is just owning the life out of Serperior. Like, the most broken Pokemon of all time. Arguably one of the most broken Pokemon of all time is getting owned by a fucking shroom with hands. And now talking about Serperior in the other field lead, the reason... You know what's funny? Serperior is one of the only two leads that are guaranteed success rate. Yeah, crazy, right? Like, the most broken Pokemon, arguably one of the most broken Pokemon of all time in Pokemon history, alongside Sharpness Gallade, is one of two freest leads? How? Well, pretty simple. Substitute. Why substitute? It doesn't have it in moveset. Why would you mention substitute? If you go back to the team composition, it doesn't have substitute. Well, you forget one detail. It gets substitute at the enter of battle move. So let me break it down to you why the most diabolical way to own the AI into submission is revealed. The way we are doing this in the sequence we're doing this is because Serperior, because it gets the substitute when it enters the field, normally the AI will never click a status move, ever, unless it's like Protect or like a healing move if they're below 50% HP. Other than that, the AI almost never clicks a status move. Unless it has a substitute to protect it, and then they see that they have a free turn to do whatever they want. So they will click in that scenario a move they will almost never click in other scenarios. Because the damage output of their period is so low, being the highest roll of Leafstorm, 27%, the AI it doesn't see a 2-hit KO, so it's gonna click Leech Seed. Yes, the move you will never see an AI use on a post-game battle. A status move is getting clicked here guaranteed. And what that means is that if you anchor the Leech Seed and you switch out, he will click Leech Seed again because he's still behind a substitute and you're not immune to Leech Seed. Even if he lands the first Leech Seed, he's still gonna stay in. And then you Swords Dance as he switches out, and then you kill everything. This is the most beautiful line of play you can do, because it takes the shortest amount of time, and it's guaranteed to work. Best case scenario, you dodge the first leech seed, you don't lose HP, so you don't waste time, and you win instantly. This is the most beautiful line of play I could have found for the Serperion line. Serperion normally is the scariest Pokemon in this whole fight. But the fact that Breloom grass typing alongside Snorlax baiting Leech Seed exactly is just one of the most perfect masterpieces I could have ever found. Also, fun fact, enter of battle moves, I don't know if this was a bug or if it's intended. For what I know, this is intended, because they will be broken otherwise. But the enter of battle moves are once per battle. It's like the same with Dauntless Shield or Protein, for example. So after the Serperior is lead matchup, it's not gonna get a second substitute when it enters again. So that's fun fact. Scenario 3, Ember. Now after we talk about all of the jumping on Serperior, now we have to talk about the other abomination in this fight, Ember. I mentioned the Ember AI manipulation with the superpower, the fact that he will never click it and will always just click Flare Blades on the switchback. The only lose condition, and this is pretty much the fastest line to be able to, if you get bad RNG here, is the fastest reset because it happens on turn 1, so you are not really upset about it. The only lose condition that can happen here is that he gets the Flare Blades burn on the Snorlax switching back in after you get roared out of Breloom. Because, okay, you lead Snorlax, he leads Ember. You get roared, you go to Breloom because you're forced. Then you have to switch back to Snorlax, and then he Flare Blades because it's the only move he sees to kill the Breloom. If he burns you, you reset. There's no way about it, because you need Endure to be able to survive the coming up superpower to then use Gustav John. If you get burned, you are gonna die to the burn damage after the Endure, and you cannot win. So that's pretty much it. The sequence is pretty much the straightforward. You switch back to Snorlax turn 1, you endure turn 2 to survive and get the Gustav range, you on turn 3, and then you faint. You turn 4 protect with Breloom to activate the sleep turn, then you Swords Dance on the free sleep turn guaranteed, and then you kill it with Mach Punch. The line is pretty straightforward. If you get bad RNG because you got burned with Flare Blades, it happens, you just reset, and then you try again. It's really the quickest reset you can do because it really is RNG turn 1. If it happens turn 1, it happens, you know? It's the quickest way to just be able to reset, and that's it. In scenario 4, Samurott. Pretty much now we're gonna be talking about, like, now if you're seeing this flowchart, I'm sorry, but this is the easiest way I have to explain this line of play. This is the other guaranteed lead matchup. The only lose condition here is actually just a skill issue. If you don't play properly the lead matchup, I'm sorry, you need to consult a doctor because it's fatal. You are showing signs of a skill issue. Deck. I'm sorry for your illness, but if you really lose to Samurott lead, it's really a skill issue. I'm sorry. There's nothing more I can say about that. Other than I can explain the lead flowchart. So, turn 1, you always endure. Why? Because we are trying to we're not trying to click any important move yet. And also because in this fight, as I'm gonna talk later, there's damage overlap. Surface power is 90. The stab boost boosts to an effective base power of 135. Grass Knot, a move that Samurott and Pikachu have, is 120 base power when targeting Snorlax. And there's some overlapping roles in which he can click. The AI thinks Grass Knot does more than Sword and will click it. Now, one important thing that I'm going to talk in the Pikachu partner line is that what the AI thinks is not what will happen. The AI can think it gets a crit, but it will not get a crit. The AI thinks it's going to land the move and then it misses. The AI thinks one move does more damage than another, and it's gonna click that, even though it ends up dealing less than the min roll from the other move. It's an annoying gist, but in our scenario with Samurott and Pikachu, for the most part, it actually just helps us. There's nothing wrong about it. If we are getting helped out here, so yeah. Explaining the lead matchup, yeah. Turn 1 endure because we want to waste turn. We don't want to click any of our other important moves, and we have to see what does Samurott click and on turn 1. Now, the first decision we have to do is, did he click Surf or did you get crit? If the answer is yes, you double edge. If the answer is no, you endure again. Because again, we're trying to time our HP to be in cool tab range. Now, let's go to the yes scenario in case you get crit turn 1 or he clicks Surf. And the reason why I say Surf is because if you get a high roll Surf, it's important that you go the way you have to do. If you get crit, you also have to go this line of play because, well, you have to play around the damage rolls. Then, after you double edge, are you in cool tab range? Yes, you yawn and then you faint. No, you endure to be in cool tab range and then you yawn to faint. Also, in either of these scenarios, if you yawn on the cool tab range and then you don't faint because the AI didn't see the click damage overlap and click grass knot, you yawn again. You click yawn specifically to not in the case that the AI kills you, you are not moving first, and also you don't waste time. And then it gets asleep the AI and it's fine. Then now in the scenario A2, what happens if you don't get crit or if he clicks grass knot turn 1? You endure again because again we have to prepare our HP to be as low as possible, for as low as needed to be able to get into cool tab range. Then after the 2 attacks, if neither was a crit, you should be able to use double edge for free. Then after that, are you in cool tab range? Yes, no, and then the same thing happens when in this scenario from if you get crit turn 1. Now, obviously, if you get crit twice in a row, that's also annoying, but if you get crit twice in a row, that's a 1 in 576 chance, so I wouldn't be too mad about it. I mean, if you got that chance, unlucky, that's it. Like, there's nothing else to do. But I think even if you get 2 crits in a row, if you then double edge, you should be cool tab range. So you should use you should be able to just click and cool tab yawn and then die. So I don't think that's a problem really. Okay, pretty much it. Now, scenario 5, Hydreigon. Yes, I'm saving Pikachu for last because that piece of shit is broken. Anyway, I hope you're not tired of the flowchart because I'm gonna have to show you one later. I'm sorry, the Hydreigon line is also complicated to explain. And also, I'm gonna take the space of this slide to explain the reason why the Snorlax spread is the way it is. So, for the Hydreigon line to work, what we need is that Snorlax, over the course of 3 turns, or 2 if you get crit turn 1, dies. Snorlax needs to die precisely in 3 turns, or 2 if you get crit by Draco Meteor turn 1. The following math was considered to be able to achieve this. You need to add up the values of the min roll of Double Edge Recoil, Dragon Gem Draco Meteor, and 2 Focus Blast at -2 special attack to be equal or just a bit higher than Snorlax's total HP. Now I'm showing you the calcs right now. 252 special attack. The min roll that Dragon Gem Draco Meteor from Hydreigon is doing to Snorlax is 222. The min roll from Focus Blast after -2 special attack from the Draco Meteor is 92. 2 times, because we are expecting that the AI to click Focus Blast 2 times. And the damage roll from the minimum roll from Snorlax, a double edge against Hydreigon, is 168, which divided by 3 because of the double edge recoil that is 1 in 3rd HP is 56. And now you add up all of that. So 222 from the Draco Meteor min roll plus the 2 Focus Blast plus the double edge recoil adds up to 462, which is 1 over the total Snorlax HP. And this is important. And now, let me just show you the reality. I'm going to have to explain you another flowchart. We have here the flowchart for Hydreigon. Now, I'm going to just give a disclaimer. Hydreigon and Pikachu lead are not guaranteed to work. I'm sorry. They have some fiction land we have to evade. Yes. And also, if you read really the slide of Excadrill, yeah. We cannot escape fiction land. Really, we cannot escape fiction land in this game. We cannot escape fiction land. Hydreigon and Pikachu are two of the fiction land lines that you have to play. There's some loose conditions here that, as you can see here right now, the loose conditions are as following. Turn 1 Crit Draco on Snorlax, plus Crit Draco Meteor versus Breloom. That's the first loose condition. Second loose condition. He misses focus. He gets the turn 2 Focus Blast crit. Okay? And then subsection 2, no, loot condition number 2, subsections A and B. If you play the Coward's route, he needs to miss 2 out of 3 Focus Blast. Or if you play the Chad route, if he misses any Focus Blast, you wipe, you lose. So now I'm going to explain the flowchart after seeing this loose condition chart, and I'm going to explain you why the line of play works. Okay, so turn 1, you always double edge. You need the recoil, and you need to get hit by Draco to be able to deduce what is your reaction in the play. Following that, we have to see the following. Did you get crit by Draco Meteor? If the answer is yes, you could tap Anchor in the Draco Meteor and you faint. And then you pray that a Sword Dance Breloom into Drain Punch saves you from fainting, from wiping out. And you have to Drain Punch because if not, you are risking crit against Serperior. We have to keep that in mind. Even after you get crit by the first in turn 1 Draco, you have to still pray that you get crit for the second time. Now that we got that out of the way, now we go to the line that you don't get crit turn 1 by Draco Meteor, which is a more realistic scenario because it's 23 out of 24 scenarios is not a crit Draco Meteor. Are you a coward? This is a very important question because depending on your risk management, you will choose whether you want to do the fast route or the slow route. Both routes work, but it really ends up being are you a coward? If you don't care about wasting an extra turn because you think you have enough time to do the red fight and then you get to your 5v4s or your proper amount of gyms, if you really think you have enough time, you can do the coward route, but I'm gonna shame you if you do. So let's talk about the chat route. Let's talk about the chat route. What if you are not a coward? What do you want to do here? Well, pretty simple. You yawn turn 2, and then you anchor with Gustav and faint. Obviously, if Hydreigon doesn't land any of the one, if it doesn't land the 2 Focus Blasts in a row, you lose. I mean, you lose with honor at least. You didn't coward out, so that's good. Now, what if you are a coward? What if you don't care about wasting an extra turn? What if you want to take it safe? What do you need to do? Okay, so what you do is that you anchor first, and then you yawn and faint. Now, what's the difference here? Well, mainly, you're playing around 1 Focus Blast Maze, but not 2. You're playing around 1 Focus Blast Maze. Because you're giving the AI enough time to be able to hit 2 out of 3 Focus Blast. Which is, yeah, as you may see here, it's fucked up. You know the fight, it's fucked up when you want your opponent to hit you with Focus Blast. But that's the reality we live in, so, I mean, be my guest, I guess. So, technically, the coward route plays around being able to, if you dodge 1 Draco. If you dodge 1 Focus Blast, I mean. If you dodge 1 Focus Blast, you're playing around it because you're giving an extra chance to the AI to be able to hit you. However, if it was the turn 1 miss and you went for the chat route, you could use your hard reset because you know you're not fainting that turn, unless you want to risk that he just gets a crit. But you don't because then he kills you and you lose. So it's not how it works. Anyway, after the Snorlax faints, let's say you successfully fainted with Snorlax and the Hydreigon is dealt with. It's either asleep or it's not asleep. Doesn't matter, you send Breloom. If it's asleep, now, did you survive once Hydreigon is asleep before it fell asleep? If no, If you survive, too bad, you lost. Try again. Because yes, if it's not like survives and the Hydreigon gets put to sleep, you lost. And then, I mean, and also if he crits you here as you click either move on the turn 2, if he crits you with Focus Blast, you also lose. You also lose. So yeah, I guess. And finally, if it's not like fainted as no, versus Hydreigon properly, you protect to activate the John Sleep if it's not a sleep. You Sword Dance on the guaranteed sleep turn, and then you kill it with Mach Punch. And then you sweep the remainder of the team. I'm gonna explain the flow. I'm gonna give you the summary afterwards about what moves you need to click against each Pokemon, but you're gonna bear me with me out. I need to explain the lead matches first, so which is more important. This is all for Hydreigon. Now let's talk about Scenario 6 Partner Pikachu. I have to emphasize that this piece of shit is so broken. Like, let's just break it down. It has 120 speed, it's timid nature, max speed, so it's the same speed as the Alakazam and Doctrio. It has a Light Ball and an Actiplot boost on a 75 base special attack Pokemon. And it reaches 996 base special attack alongside that the fact that it has Volt Beam coverage plus Grass Knot. What the fuck? Anyway, how can we deal with this atrocity of a war crime that the developers put in the game? Well, while Snorlax is not the perfect answer, it does a good enough job. And luckily, there's some hope in this atrocious dark tunnel, a damage overlap. Now, I went over it a bit on the Samurott one, but the gist of it is that, I'm sorry, not the Pikachu Thunderbolt and Samurott's Surf both have 90 base power. And when boosted by Stab, they are an effective base power of 135. And Grass Knot base power is 120. When targeting Snorlax anyway. And also, every attacking Pokemon can do damage on a range that varies between 85 to 100% of the expected effective base power from a move. And in Thunderbolt's case, the lowest effective base power is 114.75. That means that the five highest rolls from Grass Knot and the 5 lowest rolls from Thunderbolt have overlap. And that means that if the AI on its internal damage rolls, on the damage rolls the AI thinks it's gonna get, because remember, the rolls that the AI is trying to calculate are not the actual damage rolls that will occur. But importantly, this internal calculation that the AI does means that sometimes it will choose Grass Knot over Thunderbolt, and every time that it clicks Grass Knot over Thunderbolt, we have a guaranteed win. Which is 20 out of 256 times where Pikachu will click Grass Knot and guarantee the fight. Because even if the Grass Knot crits, we survive 1 HP. Great. Okay, now onto the actual line of play against Pikachu, which is... it's simple, but it's bullshit. Let me show you. So you turn 1, have to anchor. If you don't anchor, he will click Volt Switch to kill you and switch out. You need to anchor the Thunderbolt or the Grass Knot. You have to. Because if he has the freedom to click Volt Switch, he will. And you lose. That's the first skill check. Click, anchor, turn 1. After that, you can just click Endure turn 2 to be able to get into Q-Tap range safely. Then turn 3, you click Yawn and then faint. Then after Snorlax dies, you enter with Breloom, you protect, activate the John Sleep, it gets put to sleep, you Sword Dance on the free turn of sleep, and then you kill it with Mach Punch and the next one. If you get crit turn 1 and leave a Q-Tap range, you skip the Endure and you use Yawn turn 2. Okay? Because if you try and Endure with Gustav. On Gustav range, you will consume the Gustav berry because this game is bugged as shit. Yes, you have to pay attention to your Gustav HP. If you are below 25%, do not click Endure. Please, for the love of God, don't do it. Don't int. Don't be stupid. Okay? Thank you. Now, what are the lose conditions on this lead matchup against Pikachu? The most broken Pokemon of all time. The most broken custom Pokemon of all time, actually. Because the pumpkin is easy. Partner Pikachu is not. This bullshit is broken. What are the lose conditions? The first lose condition. Turn 1 Thunderbolt High Roll Crit. Yes. Even here we cannot escape fate because even if we invest max special defense, not only we are worsening our Hydreigon matchup, but we also still die to high roll crit. Isn't that fun? 2. And then this is the 5 scenarios that technically are pretty much the same, but occur in different turns or in different sequences. It's either a turn 1 paralysis with a turn 1, turn 2, or turn 3 full para, or a turn 2 paralysis of Thunderbolt and a turn 2 or 3 full paralysis. If you paralyze at all, you lose. That's pretty much the gist of it. If you get paralyzed at any moment, you lose. And if you get crit turn 1 on high roll and you die, you lose. So yeah. And the chance of successful line against Pikachu lead matchup is roughly 88.3%. Now, if you want to see the actual percentage, you have it there. So it's a good odd you win because let's be real, that the fact that he gets Thunderbolt, paralysis from Thunderbolt, and you get paralyzed on any of the instances that you get after you get paralyzed is not guaranteed, is non-zero, but it's not guaranteed. Technically, you can still win. Now, moves to use with Breloom versus Red's Pokemon. These are the expected sequences of moves that you need to click to kill each Pokemon. Against Pikachu, Ember, and Excadrill, after you get a Sword Dance boost, and also this is all assuming you got the Sword Dance boost, do not, for the life of you, do not attack if you don't have the Sword Dance boost. Do not. Okay? Got it. Okay, now, against Pikachu, Ember, and Excadrill, they all die to Mach Punch. You only click Mach Punch against them. You don't click Drain Punch. Only Mach Punch, okay? Only Mach Punch to kill. Okay? Got it. Superior, you always Drain Punch if it's either has a substitute or if it's over a 91% HP. I'm saying this because the mean roll from Mach Punch is 91%. You know? So that's that. If the superior HP is 91%, is below 91%, you Drain Punch. If it's behind a substitute, you Drain Punch. If it's not behind a substitute and its HP is below 91, you Mach Punch. Against Samurott, you always Drain Punch. Why? Because I didn't explain this in the EV spread details, but if you read it, you read it. 220 speed outspeed the scissors creeping Samurott. Samurott has 230 speed, we have 231. Get on. Samurott dies to Drain Punch. It's not guaranteed to kill with Mach Punch, by the way. Don't be like Denzi trying to hit Mach Punch on Samurott. It's not the idea. No, don't do it. And finally, Hydreigon. Now, normally, Hydreigon will be paired alongside Pikachu, Ember, and Excadrill because you almost always just click Mach Punch. But in the scenario that you have to do the crit Draco Meteor line, you have to Drain Punch because you need to heal out of Serperior's Hidden Power Fire range. If you don't, you lose. Got it? Perfect. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you consider liking the video if you find it helpful, if you find it interesting. Also, I will pretty much appreciate if you subscribe because I'm trying to make some videos about this. Like I'm mostly a yapper about Pokemon. Like I'm a nerd for this shit. I'm gonna be straight honest. I mean max CV spreads on pretty much anything. If I can min max something, I will. Why do you think I got 39 gyms in an hour in my latest world record? I don't know. You tell me. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and also, this is something I'm gonna just say this. I'm not gonna show you a slide because this is only for those that really watch the video until the end. I am putting a 1 million Pokémon bounty to anyone that can, with video evidence, show me from their own footage, so no share footage, only one winner, that with their account, their own, it has to be one character. It cannot be across multiple characters. If you want to really test this out, you have to do it on one character because you have to show me your IGN. If you can get every single lose condition on this chart, the 1 in 8,000 over 8,000 of Excadrill, the lose condition from Pikachu, the lose condition from Hydreigon, the lose condition from Ember, if you can get all of that in video proof, showing that in every single lose condition, the same IGN in-game name, I will send you 1 million Pokémon. Now, if you are curious about if it's really worth it to try, let me break it down to you. The average, so I'm giving out 1 million Pokémon if you do this successfully. To get to the top of Mount Silver, you need to, on average, burn, for the minimum cost, 2 max repels. 2 max repels cost 1,800 Pokémon. On average, if you manage to get every single one of these lose conditions in under 555 attempts, you profit. If not, you're losing money. But you're showing me your dedication at that point. So yeah, if you're really interested in the bounty hunt, you can. I'm not gonna say that you're wasting your time, because at the end of the day, everyone does what they find fun. Thank you so much for watching.